This is a German Type 7 U-boat, likely scuttled during the final months of the war.
The submarine's identification markings are still visible beneath decades of corrosion.
Forward torpedo tubes remain open, frozen in their final combat-ready state.
Inside, the control room shows how confined and unforgiving life aboard these submarines was.
One crew member remains at his post, still in his wartime uniform. Personal effects confirm the identity of the lost German sailors.
Unfired torpedoes still line the submarine, never launched. After more than 80 years, this U-boat remains a silent war grave beneath the sea. The exterior of the submarine tells the story of decades underwater, battered by currents and corrosion.
Even faded insignias endure, silent reminders of the vessel's origin.
The deck hatch remains twisted open, revealing the decay within.
Narrow corridors inside show how confined life aboard these submarines really was.
Another crew member remains frozen in time, a haunting reminder of the past.
The control instruments are frozen, untouched since the war ended. The armory within remains intact, a snapshot of wartime readiness.
Identification numbers provide insight into the submarine's arsenal and history. The periscope lies broken, a silent witness to the U-boat's final mission.
From bow to stern, the U-boat rests as a solemn monument to the war beneath the waves. The lifeboat mounts are corroded, evidence of the submarine's violent descent to the seabed.
The forward torpedo tube remains eerily intact, yet unusable after decades underwater.
The conning tower hatch shows layers of corrosion, a testament to time and tides.
In the officers' quarters, the remains of a crewman sit as if resting, frozen in time. Instrumentation reveals the age and abandonment of this underwater relic. Even the deck artillery remains, corroded and silent after decades on the seabed. The torpedo room is a frozen scene of wartime readiness, untouched since the final dive.
Communication devices lie silent, coated in decades of marine decay. Hull markings and insignia survive as faint reminders of this vessel's origin.
From bow to stern, the U-boat tells a story of war, loss, and the passage of time beneath the waves.
The ventilation systems are corroded beyond recognition, yet traces of their design remain.
The periscope shaft is frozen in time, a window that never rose again. Deck railings show the full effects of decades underwater, fragile yet persistent. The engine room reveals the heart of the submarine, now silent and decayed.
Control gauges remain stuck, telling the story of a vessel that never returned home.
Even aft torpedoes lie undisturbed, relics of wartime readiness.
Faded hull markings confirm the U-boat's identity, surviving decades underwater.
The crew remains in their stations, preserved in the cold embrace of the sea. Every hatch tells a story of decay and the passage of time. Every hatch tells a story of decay and the passage of time. This submarine remains a silent monument to a bygone era, its secrets locked beneath the waves.
The ladder shows decades of decay, yet its shape remains recognizable.
The radio equipment lies frozen, a reminder of communications lost to time.
Personal effects hint at the daily life aboard this U-boat.
Helmets and uniform fragments tell the silent story of lost sailors.
The engine room's exit shows the harsh conditions endured by the crew.
Even the machinery speaks of a vessel long abandoned to the sea.
The deck shows both the identity and the deterioration of this underwater relic.
Lifeboat mounts reveal the violence of the submarine's sinking. Crew members remain frozen in their final moments, a poignant reminder of war beneath the waves. The U-boat rests silently, its story locked in corrosion and time.
The deck railings, eaten by time, reveal the harshness of decades underwater. Even the hatch locks show the passage of time, seized by corrosion and marine growth.
Corridors inside the submarine remain unchanged, frozen in the moment the vessel sank. The control instruments are frozen, a testament to the crew's final mission. Another crew member remains at his station, undisturbed for decades.
The torpedoes remain stacked as they were, silent witnesses to wartime readiness.
The deck gun stands silent, corroded yet intact after decades beneath the waves. The communication devices remain locked in time, untouched since the U-boat sank.
Hull markings still identify this submarine, despite decades underwater. The stern shows the U-boat's final resting state, preserved by the sea.
The periscope hatch remains corroded, a silent witness to the U-boat's final moments. Even the valves, now frozen, show the harsh life inside this vessel. The hull markings, though worn, reveal the U-boat's identity beneath decades of decay.
Each hatch tells the story of a vessel long abandoned to the sea.
The crew remains frozen in their final positions, silent and haunting. Aft torpedo tubes remain untouched, relics of the U-boat's combat readiness.
The deck artillery lies silent, corroded but still recognizable.
Communication devices remain locked in time, telling the story of a vessel long lost.
The control room preserves the final state of the U-boat, untouched for decades.
From bow to stern, this submarine remains a silent monument to the war beneath the waves. The conning tower railing shows decades of decay, yet the structure holds its shape. Even the hatch mechanisms are frozen in time, corroded beyond repair. The internal corridors remain unchanged, a glimpse into life aboard the U-boat.
The torpedo room preserves the U-boat's final state, undisturbed for decades.
Crew members remain frozen in position, their uniforms corroded yet identifiable.
The deck gun stands silent, a relic of wartime defense.
Communication equipment remains untouched, telling the story of a vessel lost to the sea.
The submarine's markings remain faint but readable, confirming its identity.
The rudder shows the violent impact that brought the U-boat to rest on the seabed. This submarine remains a frozen monument beneath the waves, its story preserved in rust and decay.
The ladder remains corroded, but intact, a pathway frozen in time.
The valves tell the story of a vessel abandoned and frozen in place for decades. Faded markings confirm the U-boat's identity, enduring despite decades underwater.
Each hatch shows the relentless passage of time beneath the sea.
The crew remains in position, preserved by the cold depths and corrosion. Aft torpedoes lie undisturbed, silent reminders of wartime readiness.
The artillery remains intact, corroded yet recognizable after decades underwater.
Communication devices tell the story of a vessel frozen in time.
The control room remains as it was, a snapshot of the final moments aboard.
From bow to stern, the submarine rests in silent testimony to the war beneath the waves.
The conning tower remains corroded yet fully recognizable, a monument to its history.
Every hatch hinge tells a story of decades underwater, frozen in time.
The narrow corridors preserve the final layout of the submarine for decades.
The torpedo room remains untouched, a time capsule of wartime readiness.
Crew members remain frozen in position, their uniforms degraded yet identifiable.
The deck artillery lies silent, enduring the passage of time beneath the sea.
Communication devices are locked in time, telling the story of a lost vessel.
Faded markings conferred the U-boat's identity, preserved by decades underwater.
The rudder shows the violent impact that brought this submarine to rest on the seabed.
From bow to stern, this U-boat rests as a silent monument to history beneath the waves.